Today we're going to talk about eating out. Specifically, I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you reach your health goals even if you're eating out all the time. So oftentimes with people who are too busy to actually prepare foods at home, they don't even try to eat better, optimize the diet because they just feel like, well, why bother? I'm going to be eating out all the time and I'm just not going to even bother. I'm going to take my chances. But there are actually ways that you can be strategic about eating out, about the choices you make. And I'm going to give you some tips here in this video today. For those of you who are meeting me for the first time, I'm Dr. Amina, a physician and health coach, and I help you to eat better so that you can feel better. All right, so the first tip is when dining with a group, choose the restaurant if possible. And in terms of some restaurants that are potentially better, think about the ethnic type restaurants. So Mexican restaurants are good because they tend to have a wide selection of vegetables. Asian restaurants are good as well because again a lot of vegetables, nice crispy vegetables, so not very overcooked. And also of course Greek restaurants are a good option as well because there's usually again a lot of vegetables, salads, and even vegetarian based meals. Not that I'm telling you to be vegetarian, but at least there are options. Hummus and so on, chickpeas, very good food, protein, fiber. So the ethnic type restaurants are usually going to be a better option because you're going to have more variety, more colors, more vegetables, more nutrient dense foods, more nutritionally rich foods. Fast foods are always going to be usually a poor option. Okay, so that's tip 1. Tip 2 is that when you have been seated and you're settling in, first thing you can consider telling the server is don't bring any bread on this table. We all will probably agree that restaurant bread can be very tasty, especially when it's nice and warm and crispy on the outside, and then they bring you some butter and you put it in and it melts and it's just perfect. And but bread, starting off a meal with this lovely delicious warm bread could potentially derail your goals because we know that bread is starch, and starch is a string of glucose molecules, and even if you're not diabetic, you do not want to have really surges. You don't want to have significant surges in your glucose levels. And if you're going to start your meal off with bread, then start your meal off with a glucose surge, then that can spiral you into derangement where your metabolism is concerned. It just can scramble things a little bit. So tell the waiter, don't bring any bread to this table. Now, if you might be dining with some people and some people might want bread, and maybe you all can agree together, okay, bring bread, but don't give refills, because sometimes they just keep bringing you bread, and because it's so good, you just keep eating it. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, you can ask first thing, instead of starting with cocktails, which again are often pretty sweet, you can ask them to bring some water to the table. And maybe even if you're going to have a cocktail, you can start yourself off with some water. 1 or 2 glasses of water is going to fill you and cause you to potentially not want as much to eat, at least so early. You might be able to wait for your main course. Okay, so ask them to bring water to the table. You can ask them for some lime or lemon wedges so that you can squeeze that in the water to enhance the flavor somewhat. Okay, so that's another tip for you. 4th thing is when it comes to the food and the main dish, you can ask for simple preparation of the food. So it doesn't have to be a stewed, your meat doesn't necessarily have to be stewed. When I say simple preparation, you can just tell them to do to grill the fish or the chicken. So simple meaning it doesn't have a lot of extras, particularly sauces, because sauces tend to have quite a bit of added sugar, and because the sauce also is salted, that can mask the taste of sugar, so you don't appreciate how sweet this is. So ask for more simple preparation of your meals, a simple salad, simple vinaigrette, and then simple grilling of whatever meat it is that you choose to have, and so on. Okay, so that's number 4. And then number 5 is kind of extending from what I just said about sauces. You try as best as you can to avoid dips and sauces and dressings. Unless you're at Mexican restaurants, the guacamole dip is a good dip because it's basically just avocado, and it might have some green peppers and some tomato pieces or whatever, but an avocado dip is going to be good. A hummus dip is going to be good as well. But sometimes in restaurants there are these very these creamy dips, sometimes some sort of sweetish dips, so you have to be sort of cautious about these dips because depending on what they are, they might be pretty loaded with sugar. Also a lot of condiments, a lot of salad dressings, especially some of the creamier types, and even ones like the common Thousand Islands and so on, those can have a lot of sugar. In fact, maybe not here, but I've shared a label once where a salad dressing packet, one serving of this salad dressing contained 8 grams of sugar, and every 4 grams is equal to 1 teaspoon. So that one serving of salad dressing contained 2 teaspoons of sugar. And when you remember that the total daily allowance of sugar is 6 teaspoons, which is the same as 24 grams, and then you're noticing that you're getting a third of your daily allowance from one little serving of salad dressing, then you can see how quickly you have got to your limit in terms of added sugar. I'm not talking about naturally occurring sugar in foods, but I'm talking about added sugar. So that's a good reason to avoid dips and sauces and salad dressings in restaurants. Again, you can ask for a simple vinaigrette, and the chef should be able to whip that up pretty easily in the bag. Some vinegar, some olive oil, and maybe some spices. And by the way, generally speaking, you shouldn't be afraid to ask for little changes, alterations in meals, because at the end of the day, the chefs and the restaurant staff in general, they want to see happy customers. They want to see that you ate everything and you enjoyed it, and even more importantly, they want you to come back. So you have no fear. I have asked for modifications in restaurants so many times, and they're always very happy to help me with that. And then another thing as well is that you can ask specifically about some of the ingredients, about the makeup of some of the dishes as well, and maybe you can let them know that you have maybe not restricted. You can tell them, like, I'm on a restricted, I have to eat in a restricted way for whatever reason. I mean, people who are gluten intolerant, or they have no problems telling the chef or the restaurant staff that they are gluten intolerant and that they want gluten free. And so just like you can say I'm gluten free, you can also say either you're sugar-free or whatever, just whatever your preference is, okay? So I hope you all found this tip helpful. I'll just give one little bonus here, and this one is related to traveling. So sometimes when you travel, it's more challenging for sure. And so one of the things you can do when you're traveling is to take your own snacks at least, because if you're taking your own snacks, you can go a little longer. And when I say take your own snacks, take your own more wholesome, healthy snacks, whether it be nuts, things like that, so that you don't have to be stuck with whatever junk, because it's a lot of junk in some of these hotel shops. So I hope you all found these tips helpful, but it is possible to eat out often and still be able to reach your health goals. And some of these tips are gonna be helpful for you to be able to do that. Hope you all found this helpful. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with others who may benefit from it. And also, if you want to hear more and see more when I drop new videos, subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a good day.